Got a plant in the corner now to add a little bit of pizzazz to the studio. If you would even call this a studio, it's a desk in the corner of my bedroom because the office, my partner uses it. Why am I talking about this? It doesn't matter. What we're here to talk about is this bag from HURU. This is the H2, a 22-liter everyday carry bag that honestly has a couple flaws, but overall, I really enjoyed testing this one out. Let's get into it. So the first thing that I really liked about this bag, and one of my favorite things about using it, was how easy it was to utilize the organization in the pockets that this bag offers. So I'm gonna walk you through all those pockets and kind of how I built them out for my everyday carry rig as I used this bag over the course of 2 trips when I was in California, and then I was in Utah and kind of Idaho at the same time as well. And this was like my everyday carry bag, took it on some hikes, took it on the plane as my carry-on, and just kind of used it, and it was pretty much my crutch for the entirety of that trip. So it was really nice, and because of that, and because I utilized every single pocket that this bag literally offers, it became really nice to know that everything was exactly where I needed it to be, and everything was surprisingly easy to get into, because considering that the main access and the main way to get into and open this flap is a buckle, and it's not like a fidlock buckle, it's a legit, like almost like a seatbelt kind of buckle, and you have to squeeze these 2 little things, and then this opens up, and then you have the zippers to open the main compartment, the laptop compartment. You can see the top of the zippers for this front compartment, and so forth. Even having this on this bag as being the way to really get into and access this bag, for the most part, I found that it was super easy and honestly kind of nice. Okay, so let's talk about the specs and the hardware and the material on this thing. So the material is a 500D Cordura that's water repellent, and it has Japanese YKK zippers that are produced in Germany. The buckle on the front is made from anodized aluminum and brass, and it's an own custom design, and it has durable nylon straps with stainless steel stoppers and hooks that will last a lifetime. I'm just reading this off of their website because it makes it a lot easier than trying to memorize it. Thank you, B-roll, for just being fantastic. So one thing about the materials on this bag is I actually was out on the beach in California during a rain thunderstorm, because it was just seemed like an awesome opportunity to just like kind of go out there. I didn't get footage of me having the bag with me because I got that shot specifically for something else, but I had this out in the snow and in the water on the beach when it was raining, as well as just having it in like an overall environment, and the materials held up wonderfully. Okay, so now I'm going to walk you through every nook, cranny, and pocket on this bag and kind of show you how I loaded it out. And then after that, I'm going to talk about a couple of the things on this bag that I didn't like as much. Okay, so the first thing is you have this harness system with these straps in the back. You have this, which is a strap that is held on by these like little G hooks. This is a luggage pass-through, so you can basically take this off, put it around your roller luggage, strap it back on, and you have a nice luggage pass-through. I didn't use this because the roller luggage that I used is massive. It's the level 8 one that I reviewed, the like Voyager, the one that's like it's just a chasm, because when I travel for work, I got to bring a bunch of work crap with me, so that one works really nice. So I don't really ever like use the roller part of it because I checked that bag immediately. It's my checked bag. So, but what I did use is above this, there's another weather guard zip, and it has this nice back compartment. I just zipped it up. I meant to unzip it. And this is actually where I put all of my receipts for my trip. Now, because I travel for work, everything is expensed, and I need to put those receipts and scan them in and do a bunch of paperwork to get my money back. I want to make sure they're in a nice, safe, secure spot that I don't have to worry about. This is also a great spot if you want to put like your passport, maybe your wallet, valuable items as you're traveling that you want to keep safe and secure because it's up against your back, would go here. For me, it acted as my receipt den. So I am 5'8", 170 pounds, and this is what the bag looks like on me. Apologies, my drone did not want to follow me the way I wanted it to, but overall it's a nice looking bag. It's a good size, coming in at 22 liters, and then you have a handle up here at the top that's made from this nylon, like it's just the seatbelt material for your grab handle up there at the top, like I said, now twice. Okay, in terms of pockets, you have a quick access here up top on this flap. This, for me, was primarily my security dump pocket. This is where I was putting my wallet, my Monarch wallet. Giveaway video coming very soon about how I'm gonna give away a couple of those Monarch wallets. And then I just put my phone in there. I used this when I had like my AirPods, which I have in a specific pocket in here when I was in transit, but when I was flying, they usually ended up in this compartment at some point as I was listening to them, just to make it easier to dump them back in. You know, my boarding pass that I had to print when I flew Southwest, never fly Southwest, I always fly United, had so much issues with Southwest. That kind of ended up in here, receipts before I put them in there. So it just really became like a dump pocket for me, sunglasses, keys, things like that. It's a very good size, and I like the fact that it's on this flap. Only downside is if you weigh it down just a little bit, when you kind of lift it up, then it kind of has like that weight to it when you open it. But other than that, great upfront, quick access pocket. Okay, and then the other pocket on this bag that's on the outside that's the easiest to get into is this one here at the front. Now, my biggest qualm with this pocket up here at the front is this. When this strap is loose, it's in front of the zipper. Now, it doesn't really get in the way that much, but it's still there, and I'm not a big fan of that. It's one of my least favorite things. But in here was a great spot to put this Wander tech pouch. It's pretty much the exact size of this compartment. This just had some extra like chargers, cables, dongles, things like that, my action camera. But in there, in this compartment, you actually have a zippered, very small, flat zippered guy behind that, and that's where I put my powdered G Fuel in order to survive the early and long onset of flights that I usually encounter. So always have some extra energy with me. But overall, this front compartment, if you didn't want to utilize it with a pouch, which is kind of what I like to do mostly, you could easily organize this with some extra chargers, cables, bigger items, larger items, power banks, things like that would easily fit. And then you can even use that inside zipper as like an extra additional security pocket, because honestly, if you didn't know it was there, I'm not really sure if you would see it at first glance. So you can have a little extra security there if you want. But overall, a very nice pocket that worked really well. Okay, so then you open it up with this buckle here at the top as before, and then when you open it, you can see you have two zipper guys here on the front. Now this is the same compartment that has a pass-through, just like that, and this became kind of like my miscellaneous pocket in a lot of ways. My sunglasses ended up in there a lot, snack bars from when I was traveling, and then also my pouch of like extra like sticky notes and pins and some extra random cables that sometimes I might need. Also, my Sennheisers ended up in here. My partner currently has them on a trip at the moment because, you know, I share sometimes. You know, when you have all this travel stuff, I guess you should share with the person you love or whatever, you know. Well, anyways, my point is that my Sennheisers ended up in here. Really good dump pouch that passes through if you want to use it. It was honestly a really nice addition because it was just an extra pouch that I didn't really need to fill out, and if I wanted to, I could. And honestly, even with this closed, you could easily position this zipper to where you could still get in here if you wanted to, even with this flap closed. Okay, then this back zipper is your laptop and tablet sleeve. Does a full clamshell opening. I have my iPad 10-inch in here, as well as my MacBook Air 13-inch. It says it fits up to a 16-inch MacBook Pro, and then as for a tablet sleeve, I don't think you can get much bigger than a regular 10 or regular size iPad. It's like a 10-inch, I think. Not a bad laptop compartment, enough up off the bottom of the bag that you have a little bit of protection. I like the fact that it's a separate compartment, and it also opens clamshell, which is super convenient if you want to kind of like lay it out for a minute. You could also easily fit some flat items in there as well if you wanted to, but overall a very solid and easy to get into laptop compartment. Okay, then you have the main compartment, which also opens clamshell, and I'm gonna do my best to hope everything falls out. But in here, I organize it with a couple pouches, and then I utilize some of that built-in organization on the front. So this is a side-by-side gear tech pouch. This is where I put like my hard drives, my Apple Watch charger, some other things, just like bigger, bulkier charger items that I might need. Always travel with my GorillaPod because you never know when you might want to film a video or take a photo. You just need an easy and quick tripod. You don't want to carry out a gigantic tripod. And then the other thing that I brought was with me is my drone, which is my DJI Mini 3 Pro. And then I just kind of put the drone and my batteries in this Renin pouch from Boundary Supply. just like to always have my drone with me, especially because I knew I was going to be in California, which is beautiful, and the salt flats and all over Utah. So always like to carry a drone with me, especially since I have the Mini and you can get away with it in these types of bags. So that is pretty much the main compartment. I think this main compartment definitely works better if you're gonna utilize pouches. I think having a lot of like free floating items in here probably wouldn't be the most ideal, because I think a lot of things would get easily jumbled and lost in the sauce if you weren't careful, which is why I like, and I think that pouches just work a little bit better. And then on the front of this compartment, you have 3 zippered components. Now this top one is where I put my lip balm from Strix, and then my AirPod Pros. That was kind of like their home when I knew I wasn't going to be using them. Maybe I was in transit and doing stuff where I knew I wouldn't be having my headphones. They ended up in here, but when I was like traveling through the airport, they pretty much ended up wherever they wanted to, because it's just how it goes. And then the one below that, I actually have my DJI mic set, because I like to record when I'm out and I want to make sure I have the best audio quality I possibly can. So this is just such a convenient thing that can plug into my iPhone, can plug into my camera. It's literally a lifesaver. So I always bring it with me, and it fit perfectly in that second one. And then this bottom one, I don't have anything in it at the moment. It just also became like a random pouch. Honestly, it just like, well, whatever I needed kind of just ended up in there. That's where some other G Fuel packets ended up, some other snacks ended up, and some cables kind of just ended up in there. Just kind of became like a random pouch, honestly. But that overall is completely and entirely the organization on this bag and all the pockets. Now I want to talk about what I didn't like. So this is something that I've seen a lot in my comment section, that I don't talk enough about the things that I don't like on bags, and I hear that and I understand why you'd want to know those things. So I'm not doing this to pick on HURU. They're just the first one that I'm going to be doing this moving forward, where I'm going to start talking more about some of the things that I didn't like in more detail and just kind of highlighting them for you so you know. So these straps are just a little thin, and without load lifters or any kind of extra comfort, loading this thing down, especially with this loadout, having my laptop and my tablet, it just became a little heavy, and it definitely digs into the shoulders. Now, when I was walking around the airport, after about 10 minutes, 15 minutes of walking, because the Salt Lake City International Airport, you have to like run a marathon to get to Terminal B, because you have to walk through all of Terminal A, and then you go underground and walk the entire length of Terminal A again to get to Terminal B. And then I'm always the flight that's like at the end of Terminal B, so I have to walk the entire length of Terminal B, which is a marathon. It got heavy and it got uncomfortable. So I think the harness system, these straps could benefit from a little bit of a beefier upgrade. But if you weren't going to be packing this thing out super heavy, not with things like a drone, extra cables, and a lot of this stuff kind of weighs, like there's some heft to this, especially when the mics are actually in it. Same with a laptop and a tablet. If you weren't going to be packing it out that heavy, you just need something to maybe throw a jacket in, some cables, some pockets, it definitely wouldn't be that bad. But if you're going for a little bit of a heavier loadout, you're definitely going to feel it in your shoulders a little bit. And the other thing that I think is a little bit of a downside on this bag is the top handle for grabbing. The fact that there's nothing on either side or on the bottom, and the only one you get up top doesn't really have a lot of beef to it, and it's just a nylon strap, I think could see a little bit of an improvement. When it comes to day packs, especially for me personally, I like to have more areas to grab, because you never know what kind of situation you're going to be in where you need to either quickly or suddenly grab your bag, or just grab it without really wanting to put a lot of thought or effort into grabbing, which I know sounds weird, but when your bag's, you know, by your side and you just like, oh shoot, like my flight's boarding, and you just want to be able to like grab it, right? But if you have to like kind of like look and then grab, you know, I mean, it's a little bit of an inconvenience. And again, like that's the smallest inconvenience in the world, but my point basically is that I think having a couple extra areas to grab, or at least having this one a little bit more beefy, maybe like the entire length of here with a little bit of something besides just the seatbelt material, would be nice. Honestly, other than those two things, the main one being the comfort factor, this is an overall very solid day pack. Coming in at $200, this company, I didn't mention at the top, but they're from Ukraine. And if you know everybody knows what's going on in Ukraine. So I will say that if you're interested in ordering anything from them, please be patient and remember that the shipping is gonna take a while. It took this bag close to a month and a half for it to finally get to me after they shipped it. And I'm very grateful that they did. It just took a lot longer than I expected, which is totally fine and completely understandable. So if you are gonna order, just keep in mind that it is shipping from a country that might not have the best shipping at the moment. So please, just remember that. But overall, I think this is a really solid bag. I like the look, I like the feel, I like the overall vibe, and I like the organization and pockets that it has. I think that this is a very solid bag, and if you're not gonna pack it out that heavy, I think you'll be okay, especially when it comes to that comfort factor. So, with all of that being said, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about the HURU H2, let me know down below and I'll do my best to answer those for you. If not, you can always hit me up on email, odiematthewsbags@gmail.com, where I'm happy to answer any of the questions, suggestions, lists, photos, videos, whatever it is you might need. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all of that wonderful nonsense. Thank you guys again so very much for all the love and support you give this channel. It means the world to me. And with all of that being said, I will see you next time.